Record to class. Good evening. I'm Glenda Carlin, and it is July 7th, 2026. It's a Tuesday evening. This is our Zoom, A Course in Miracles and Tibetan Buddhist get together. And just to clarify, I'm taking a little summer break here for 6 weeks. And I think that makes the meeting will be I think August 25th, but I'll email y'all and give you a notice. Tech. Um, Now tonight's teaching is going to really be kind of a summary, because even though Dzogchen and the Course says, we're pure, perfect in spirit, don't have to do anything. Well, but if we don't relax into spirit, and if we don't into our clear light essence, and if we don't let go of these thoughts, feelings, and sensations, that our natural clear light spirit can't be unveiled. So even though Dzogchen says that, yet we do relative practices. And we're doing these relative practices so that these obscurations are let go of. That doesn't mean they're not going to show back up, because they'll come and go. But what we're doing, we're unfreezing the stuck habitual habits and judgments, and through various ways, meditation, sky gazing, space mingling meditation, Treched, seeing through, being through the images, which is same as Jesus's advanced forgiveness. And we're practicing they're called paramitas in Buddhism, because we're unveiling this natural loving heart. And there's loving kindness, compassion, empathy, wisdom, joy. I think I said compassion, that get uncovered, because when I look back on my life, I sure didn't live from those. They're called paramitas, or Jesus calls them characteristics of teachers. We're unveiling our nature, our natural state. And I want to just bring up again, I never really could put it in words what Dzogchen meant, or what the natural great perfection meant, but now I understand what it means. It means all the six senses, when they're left in their natural state, that is Dzogchen, and that is the natural great perfection. Left in their natural state means they're all open. Like when we see an image, the images just come and go. We're not glued onto one or pushing something away. We hear something, the sound just comes and go. Taste, feeling, smell. The six sense gates are left in their natural state. Now that sounds easy, but it sure as hell's not easy, because the unconscious mind is used to assimilating all this stimuli and bringing it to conclusions and labeling it good and bad. And that's its job. In the early days of the separation, we were going to be eaten by a lion, or another being was needing some food, and it was fight or flight. So so that brings me to what I realize I've what's been transformed back to its natural state. It can be called the monkey mind. And I've got a Minger Rinpoche quote here I'm going to quote from, because it has a lot of wisdom in it. The monkey mind is neither bad nor good. The important thing is a relationship between you and the monkey mind. If you treat your monkey mind as your boss or enemy, then there's a problem. The monkey mind is restless and crazy. And you do not want a crazy boss. Don't you love that? You don't want a crazy boss running the show in your mind. Or if you try to fight with monkey mind, then monkey mind becomes your enemy. And that enemy will always be there in your mind. On the other hand, if you make friends with monkey mind, actually, monkey mind is quite good. The monkey mind is useful, and eventually, monkey mind transforms into wisdom, love, compassion, and awareness. That's Mingyur Rinpoche. He's a wholly enlightened being, a young one. He's probably in his 30s, or very, very young. Maybe could be early 40s, I'm not sure, but um because see, took me until a couple of years ago where if for you that have been coming off and on to this Zoom meeting, where I finally said, hold it. I realized I want to love. I call it ego. I want to love, but love monkey mind, love ego, because it's in its essence is a clear light of God's presence, just like everything is. Everything's generated by the clear light essence of God. That's what its essence is. It may look different or sound different, but its essence, and even all the images are just compressed clear light in various densities, various vibrations, and resulting in various shapes and colors. But their essence is clear light. Even ego, even ego. So I learned to love ego and say, I love you, I love you, I love you, instead of denying these feelings, thoughts, sensations, or repressing them, which I did my whole life because that's how culture does it. As a matter of fact, there's some movie on called the Sheep Detectives, the Sheep Detectives. And in this movie, Hugh Jackman plays a shepherd over sheep, but these sheep these sheep talk among themselves in English. And he doesn't know they can talk, but they're talking. They got a routine down. When something horrible happens, guess what they do? The main sheep says, on the count of three, we are gonna forget. She didn't use the word for repress or deny. We are going to forget this bad experience. We're going to forget it. And so she counts to one, two, and on three, the whole group, you kind of see their heads instead of they come from down, kind of lift up because they're freed from that bad thought that's holding them down. But that's not what we're doing, folks. That's what humanity does. When it gets a bad experience, it's labeled bad, and by God, I don't want it again, and you keep pushing it away, denying it. And the good stuff, we want to keep it. We don't want it to go away, and then we're upset when it does go away. Because that's duality, of course. So we're seeing that these good and bad things are because they're temporary and they come and go and they change. That's the very definition of illusion. That's the very definition. Because what is permanent and doesn't change, doesn't move, is God's clear light spirit. It doesn't change. It is pure. Well, anyway, what we're learning to do is to identify, become aware when our mind, when we've taken our awareness and gone off with these good or bad thoughts and glued onto them, pasting more sentences and memories and things to them to make a story. And then we get bogged down in the story. And then before you know it, the emotions are getting all up and down and stuff. So we, like Jesus says in the Course, we use our feelings to tell us which voice we're listening to, and we choose again. Now, I didn't realize it, but see, that's a preliminary stage. Because choosing means we're choosing between subject and object, two-ness. But first, Jesus in the Course and Buddha in his sutras They're just trying to get you to damn understand what's true and what's false. So you have to sort this stuff. But ultimately, after when it's sorted and you see its fleeting and permanent nature, like we're born, we live, our body changes, we suffer, we have pain, we grow old, and we die. And people don't want to accept those points and fights them along the way. But that's the deal. That's part of the magic show, the illusion change. The Son of God got bored being in purity. Purity never changed, never moved. It was the same thing. So he wanted to see how the clear light would be in change. So she, it generated, extended the great ray, and automatically then the light comes in to generate the forms. And as it ascends, it liberates the form back to the clear light. And it's so fast, instant, you don't recognize it's doing it. And it's so fast, you don't know it's a hologram happening right now, where it's just fleeting spatial, like dots of energy. But anyway, we're sorting. We at that stage you're sorting, you're reading, you're contemplating. But now you all have sorted and cleaned and done enough. You can now go past this to there's no subject or object. Meaning, like when I watch TV or play solitaire, there I'll go, there's nothing to see and no one's seeing anything. And then in an instant, I see the clear light that's here and see the forms are just dancing within that clear light. But what that is teaching the unconscious mind, the ego mind. There's no subject, there's no I, and there's no object to see. There's no me or I to go see something, and there's no object to see. There's nothing out there. There's never been anything out there, and there'll never be anything out there. It's all just a magic show that you're getting used to accepting. So it doesn't scare the hell out of you. What do you mean there's nothing out there? You know, you sure don't want to bump your knee or roll a tire over your foot. I mean, we're not doing that. But the thing is, you're knowing this is called insight, wisdom, insightfulness, gnosis. You're knowing the reality, the absolute reality of your essence, and everything is this clear light essence that animates everything, that interconnects everything. We interbe all together, all together. Now, why I'm bringing this up is there's I'm going to say what the topic was for tonight, but there are 7 stages of purification that y'all are going through, and I find it helpful for me to see the big picture and then kind of look at these stages. But the big deal is to not severely judge yourself. Oh, I'm only in stage 2. Well, come, I've been doing all this. Why am I in stage 3? That's not why I'm talking about this. I'm talking about so you see the big picture, and and knowing the big picture, then you contemplate truths differently and ask Holy Spirit, help me see the big picture, the big 360-degree panoramic awareness, the big knowing, the big knowingness of all this. But I want to go back to the main topic tonight is, for the first time in my life, I have grasped the fact that I've been dreaming. Truly, throughout the day, it's a fact. I recognize that I've been dreaming a dream, and I've grasped the fact that that has been occurring, but it's stopped. I'm now awake and lucid. And that doesn't mean that I don't get carried off sometime with a thought, because that's why we have a toolkit and recognize with our feelings that we get carried off, and we can flick our eyes right and left, tilt our eyes, take that deep in breath and say, ah, or use, last week we talked about the 5 elements, using the element of water, the water to rinse the forehead, which has got the right and left brain hemispheres, the thinking mind, And then the spiritual side, it just goes and it's washing away that thinking mind. That's our toolkit. Okay, so and how that resulted is I was talking about last week how I was practicing Tonglen on my brother-in-law when I sensed he was upset, very upset, suffering, and was felt desperate. As I sat by him, I would breathe in and out of his body. And on the in breath, I drew in any of his suffering, excuse me. And on my out breath, I exhaled that suffering and it got transformed into clear light. So I breathed in his suffering and then exhaled clear light. And I just did that silently for a minute or two. And then it dawned on me I could do that on the board members. I'm on this condo board where there's different viewpoints and different personalities, etc. But what happened this last week is before I go to sleep, a year or two ago, I listened to a dream yoga. I had it in the old CD fashion. You can get it on MP3 or an audio track. It's called Dream Yoga that Lama Surya Das did. And he says at night you lay on, man and female are sometimes different, but female, I would lay on our right side, and in your mind you see a white A, and then you say to yourself, may I wake up from the dream and recognize that I am dreaming. Oh, may I wake up from the dream and grasp the fact that I am dreaming so I can help all sentient beings wake up from their thoughts of separation. I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly what he said. But so I go to sleep that way most of the time because, and what happens then, this is dream yoga for the nighttime dream to wake up and be lucid within nighttime dreams. I'm not really lucid within nighttime dreams, but in daytime dreams, I'm damn lucid. I'm awake. I know what's going on. And that lucidity in the purpose of trying to wake up in the nighttime is so that we can wake up in the daytime. We apply the same principles that whatever you see, images you see, they aren't permanent. They can be seen through, see through them to their clear light essence, um, to their purity, and in that also then affects how they don't recognize it, but you're touching their heart, their pure heart, and their pure mind, and their pure body. So it's helping in their awakening. But anyway, so now my dreams are giving me messages that I have. Well, first I see the dream. I think, remember the dream. And then I ask Holy Spirit, what does this mean? So here's the dream I had. I was staying with a woman and her son, an adult man, in their house. And I found out that I had a small black Shih Tzu dog named Tessie. And that dog I actually owned in this lifetime. Yeah, owned or had. Family member. Um, and I found out that adult man was physically hurting my dog. And so the dog was on my lap and I was comforting my dog. And in that comforting, you relax. And what happened, I remembered that that adult male had also been physically abusing me. So I went to the woman, the mother, and told her, and the mother uh, then confronted the son. Oh, wait, I have to give you one more part. It was kind of weird. One, as I was in the house, sitting in the chair, comforting my dog, I saw his body pass through the hallway, but his body it would be called an animal man, a man animal. His body was covered with fur of like a sheep or a dog, a long-haired sheep. So he was a man animal. I saw that. But anyway, so I told the mother, she confronted him and said that had to stop. and he got upset and was walking to the fireplace to get a poker to I instantly knew he was gonna really harm us. And what I how I woke up from the dream, I'm yelling no. I'm yelling no out. And so I wake up from the dream. And as I lay there in bed, remembering the dream, what I remember, what first time is the first time in a dream I ever felt an emotion. I felt the emotion of fear and I felt the emotion of suffering that I was suffering from this relationship. And as I lay there in bed, because I've not felt fear or suffering in a long time, really, but it caused me to relate to humanity. And immediately I thought, oh my goodness, this is awful. This feeling of fear. See, I'd forgotten what, and see, when we repress that monkey mind, repress these feelings, we forget how bad they feel. We're just feeling the edge of them. But I was feeling some of these deep feelings, and I thought, oh my, these are awful. What humanity's feeling is just, oh, I'd like to relieve their suffering. And so what came to me is, and it's because of this Tonglen that I practiced Tonglen on my brother-in-law and the board members and my family some, is that I could practice Tonglen on humanity. And it dawned on me really clearly, more clearly than ever before, that, and it's due to me letting go of subject and object, that there's nothing out there, that it's all these projections aren't out there anywhere. They're images in God's mind. They're images floating in God's mind that they just come and go. But because they're an image, then it came instantly to me. I can just imagine or picture an image of 8 billion people as a view. Just picture them as a collective view. And I did in my mind. And I breathed in, I breathed, let's see, I breathed in the suffering of the collective 8 billion people, but also I said, also the six realms. The six realms include animals, demigods, small g gods, hungry ghosts, denizens, and hell. There's a whole grouping of these non-existent images, but they may be non-existent, but these images believe that they're a separate self, and due to karma, they have been reborn into these specific realms. But anyway, it came to me, I could breathe in their suffering and then exhale it out as clear light, and I dang did it. For a minute or two, I just breathed in their suffering as a collective image because I saw it, this space that's in your room, your house, that's God's mind. God's mind is what holds all these images as they come and go. They're images. But anyway, so I did that. And due to that Tonglen, doing that on collective humanity, then I was able to experience what's called these six yogas in the natural state. Because see, this Tonglen, when I'm taking on the suffering and the pain and the fear of humanity, guess what? That's also, and letting it go. You don't hold on to it. You just let it go. Breathe in and exhale it. It's just in and out kind of deal. That I'm also removing more obscurations in my unconscious mind. I'm healing myself without me saying, oh, I'm just going to heal myself. To hell with all these other people. If they wake up, fine. Now, of course, there's nobody out there, but they think they're out there. And I used to think they were out there. So I'm just helping loosen that grip of the thoughts of separation on all these people. But then it helped me understand what I've come through is called the 6 yogas in the natural state. I'm experiencing them all, and I'm going to read them here. By keeping the mind in its natural state. See, the mind in its natural state is all these 6 senses just coming and going. The clear light, you see the clear light, and these images are just coming and going. That's the natural state. The karmic winds will stop by themselves. This is the practice of inner heat. I might have talked to y'all last week about that or not, but this in breath, all this energy carries heat with it. But also at the root chakra, there's a red drop. But in Tumo, you picture there's a central channel from the center of the head down the head through the torso. There's a channel, a central channel, and at the bottom of the channel in the pelvis at the root chakra is this red flame. You could call it a red flame or red drop. You gently breathe in this tube, this central channel that's clear. Breathe in that breath. Your breath is softly putting a wind that puts a flame, brightens that flame of that red drop, right? When they're trying to start a fire, they got a little bit of an ember, they blow on it, and then the fire gets more. Your gentle breath down is causing that flame, that fire to ignite and lift and spread. And gentle breath down, and then the breath up. You're just breathing down and up the central channel. And what will happen, your body will get heat. You'll feel heat. And you relax and let that heat just disperse through all your cells. In Tibetan Buddhism, there's yogis that can sit out in the snow with just a single layer of cotton cloth on them, and they practice this breathing, and the snow will melt around them, and they're not affected by whatever temperature is out there, freezing or below. It's called tumo. But what can happen, you can also just visualize that flame in your root chakra. It can burn up karma. It can burn up your obscurations. So just use that flame to just, if you have some judgment on somebody, just use your flame and burn it up and let it go. Well, anyway, that's the first yoga. When the karmic winds have stopped, the body will appear like a reflection in a mirror. This is the second yoga of the illusionary body. See, with the karmic winds, where the good and bad are not banging on each other in conflict, and like the monkey mind is fighting with these thoughts, and these thoughts are bouncing off each other, and when they obscurations and the dung balls and my evaluations and my judgment, they bang across each other. They're causing jerky karmic winds that stir everything up. Because in meditation, what's happening, we're learning to relax, to let all that stuff settle like snowflakes in a warm lake. We're no longer stirring the pot by adding stories, memories, sentences, judgments to some image or sound or smell that we hear. We're just letting it go. So then you become aware that your body is illusionary. It's just a temporary magic show. When all phenomena appear as unestablished, this is the third yoga, dream yoga. When all phenomena means all sights, sounds, smells, all that thinking, all thoughts, when all that phenomena appear as unestablished, means there's no reason for it. It's not true. It's not permanent. And you keep talking to yourself, reminding yourself during the day, oh, I just got carried off with that thought. And you come back to the clear light. That is illusionary. It's really not there. It's pure love, God's love. But you're talking yourself through letting go of these objects that appear to be out there. When the body and all appearances are vividly clear, unceasing luminosity, that is the fourth yoga, clear light. So as you practice stretching, seeing through, being through, cutting through, and Jesus's advanced forgiveness of looking beyond the flesh, beyond the body to the clear light of spirit that's here. Each short moment you do that, repeated many times, you're cutting through to see clear light, this spacious, clarity, purity of God mind, which is your mind. And you see clear light. That's the fourth yoga. When realization's not fixed, neither in samsara nor in nirvana, meaning hell or heaven, that's the fifth yoga, the intermediate state. So then that's when your realization and your thoughts, your wisdom mind is open up, your Christ Buddha mind about there's nothing out there, whether it looks good or bad. Bad samsara, goods nirvana, happy, pleasant, blissful. Neither one are real. Those are two-ness. That's two-ness. They're opposites, duality. See, you keep talking to yourself. You're reasoning with yourself. Jesus says that. You're reasoning with yourself, and you will have insight. You'll get insights, and you will do quantum leaps about the illusionary nature of all of this, and it will no longer hold its grasp like it does on you. But that when you are feeling that there's no hell, there's no heaven, that's the fifth yoga. The sixth one is when realization moves beyond grasping at either subject or object. That's the sixth yoga. So see why I want to explain this is then when you're like Dee's there crocheting, there's a D, an I, and then in her hands is her needle and the crocheting. Those are objects. But as she crochets, she can remind herself, oh, there's nothing there. There's only the clear light. There's not me as a separate self, not my husband Clay as a separate self, not my little grandson. And doesn't mean she has to give any of them up. She still loves them dearly, still takes care of them, all the same things, but her vision about their reality greatly changes. Oh, it's so beautiful. That's called the six yogas. Now, let's see what I'm make sure what am I doing on time? Is oh, also how this purification occurred. If you all remember, has occurred in the last year, I would feel a massive energy down in that central channel, sometimes in my root chakra, or sometimes it would start in my navel area. And this massive energy would rise up the central channel. And then I wasn't doing this. I wasn't in control. I'm not doing anything. I'm just aware of this. And I don't know if it's Holy Spirit or once the awakening starts for all of us, there's a natural healing that goes on. The body wants to heal, the mind wants to heal and get back to its natural state of this purity, of this complete relaxation into beingness, interbeing with God and everything. You interbeing with everything, nothing separate. But this massive energy would be rising on its own, but it would take my breath and where I'd go like, so like a breath, like suck up a breath, and the suck up of a breath would lift that energy. It was wanting to lift it out of my body. And remember, I'd tell you, it would lift it and it would take it out of my head. And I would show you this picture. This is Padmasambhava, but that's a rocket ship that's sitting over on the side of this guy's top of his head. This is a holy enlightened being, Padmasambhava. He's like the second Buddha. But these obscurations get jettisoned, rocketed out of your mind, out of your head. And what gets jettisoned as you relax and let go and do the courses, workbook lessons, or practice the six paramitas or the eight noble path of the eightfold path of purification that Buddha teaches. what happens, you're letting go of this separate self. Then you're letting go of these separate objects that are out there, like that they're separate objects. That mass got three different times, three masses a week between them. And sometimes they'd repeat after a few months because it didn't get completely jettisoned. First is separate self. Second is that there's objects out there. And the third one is that there's a separate big ass universe out there with all that stuff. And I was reading in a book. The book is called The Jewel of Liberation. And it talks about a trap door in the head, in the mind, a trap door. And I don't know if I printed out. I might not have printed that. But see, that's that rocket ship. There's a rocket ship, but these obscurations, this is a literally leaves your body. They leave your body. The fontanelle, that flat area on the top back center of your head, that area, as you loosen up the grip of your thought that you're a separate self, there's separate objects and a separate universe, that space on the back of your head, it gets softer and it get hotter because your energies, the crown chakra in that area, yeah, it's a flat spot down from the top center of the head. It's flat. Mine's actually gotten bigger and softer and hotter. But anyway, it's from that area this stuff is ejected. And it's showing. Oh, so even though this is an illusion, we have believed all this stuff and we're damn letting go of it. Now, you're not making this stuff happen. I'm just explaining, just relax. And these natural, the karmic winds, when they cease, what happens is there's the pure winds of the great ray, descending movement and ascending movement. Descending and ascending causes pure winds. And those pure winds carry these thoughts, feelings, these six sensations away. To liberate them. Called that rain shawl, shar draw. It's by itself arising, by itself liberating. If that's why you become aware when you've attached to something or you have aversion and push something away, you want to let go as soon as you can and picture, relax, breathe, smile, relax, and just whatever that thought, just relax and feel and see it just being let go of. And if something's real difficult, you'll probably be relaxing and letting go of that quite a bit, many times. This is letting go means let go means let come and go, but it doesn't mean when you let them go that something might not come back from it. And then it becomes a test, as far as I'm concerned. When something comes back, can you then let it go? Can you let it go instead of thinking, I thought I let that go. I'm just really upset. Why does that come back? Get out of here. I don't like this. No. It's a test. It's a test how your speech is going to be. Within this email, I talk about now I've set my intention. I realize how important it is to set an intention. First, I want to stabilize the view of this clear light of God's presence. And as I sit in my chair and feel this great ray descend and ascend, it's shocking to me. I have taken for granted this great ray. I didn't even know what would happen by me practicing that meditation that was in A Course in Miracles for over 4 years, that it released the arc of light and opened up the great ray, for it comes in. And that it's God presence, God clear light animating the form is here right now. I just wasn't aware of it. But it just like, what? God's presence is here right now. It's shocking to me. It's shocking. But it is here right now. Everything is God's clear light just animating as different expressions. But it boils down to it's all clear light, just really compressed light in various colors and densities. But God's presence is here. Just relax into it. Doing the ah mantra, in breath on the deep in breath, and on the exhale, the ah, the ah sound is the sound that the images make when they're liberated back to the clear light of God. Ah, they're back home. They're liberated back to the clear light of God. Oh, geez. Okay, so, and what, I forget what. Oh, my intention. So I wrote up an intention and printed it out, and I left one by my chair, my kitchen counter, one by my bed. The first one is about I want to stop and see the clear light before I do anything. I want to stop and see the clear light before I do anything. And then, plus, I want to see the clear light as I'm doing anything. And see, that's setting my intention. So then it causes me to pause, to stop and see the clear light, then to be with the clear light and whatever I'm doing, if I'm washing dishes or watching TV or driving my car, because that's stabilizing our natural state is to interbe with the clear light as we do anything, as any of these six senses are going on too. The second intention I did is because I saw a post from His Holiness called the 17th Karmapa. He's a holy enlightened being, and it's about speech. It's about speech. And I realized, oh, I was reading in that Jewel of Liberation book, and I don't. And in that book, I put it in the email. There's a summary for chapter 5 of the book, and in the summary, this is Gampopa. Gampopa is a disciple of Longchenpa, or he could just be Longchenpa reincarnated. I kind of forget which he is. They both teach Dzogchen. This is back in I forget what century, 5th century, 8th century. But Gampopa's book's called The Jewel Ornament of Liberation. And in this chapter 5, what he talks about are the six realms. Because see, why I'm talking about it is I want you to be aware of our actions determine what realm you got born in. For you to be born into this human body, you have in prior lifetimes have really cleaned up your act. You stopped judging as much. For you to be born into this precious human body out of an animal realm or the hell realm, oh my, it causes me to be so thankful and appreciate. Really, we've done a bunch of spiritual work to get as in human form and to show up where we're studying together about the Course and Dzogchen Buddhism. These are the two highest teachings that really you can look at or contemplate. But why this chapter 5 is important, it got me to understand and why I want to help, why my heart's even more open to wanting to help all beings liberate from their thoughts of separation. And until your heart breaks open to kind of feel confusion of everybody and how the confused state you used to be in, your heart doesn't break open to, oh man, this has been pitiful how we've been living. And I want to help all beings come out of this suffering state. I'm going to just read some brief things here. I'm sorry I'm kind of jumping around. I'm going to get back to my intention for speech. All sentient beings in the six realms of samsara are in a state of suffering. As human beings, we suffer aging, sickness, and death. We struggle to gather things that we want and then struggle to protect the things that we have. Just as we experience these kinds of suffering in the human realm, we will experience conditions as described in this chapter if we are born in the other realms. But even in the human realm, one can experience the suffering of the six realms, not physically, but mental suffering. Because see, that's what I experienced in that dream, mental suffering and fear. Picture yourself in a desert with no water and heat waves so powerful you feel like you're burning or being cooked in an oven. Such a sensation feels interminable, even if it lasts a short time. This is like a hot hell realm. What he's describing are these realms. They don't exist, but in the mind of all these people, they do exist. Sometimes when you're on a snow mountain in a blizzard, there's no place to hide from the wind. Your clothes are inadequate and your feet and hands freeze. Again, even if this actually lasts a short time, you feel it's forever. This is like a cold hell realm. Sometimes you take a long journey and become completely exhausted with no food to eat or no water to drink. There are no restaurants around. You feel you're starving to death and dying of thirst. The complexion of your body changes. You feel so skinny and lean. This is like the experience of the hungry ghosts. Sometimes you are tortured by other people, enslaved with no freedom to express your wishes or feelings. You feel stupid, incapable of doing anything. You don't know what to do or how to behave. This is like the suffering of animals. Sometimes your mind's completely overcome with jealousy for another's dignity, wealth, or prosperity. You become overwhelmed by these thoughts and take action to harm others. But the result brings you more suffering. This is like the life of the demigods. Sometimes you feel so peaceful and happy, everything goes well, and you're proud of the situation. You become dominated by the thought, there isn't anyone like me. Even if you experience this for a long time, still you feel it was a short moment. Later, particularly at the time of death, so much suffering is caused by having to part from pleasant conditions. This is like the suffering in the God realm. Now, why I'm bringing this up, and Gampopo says why he's bringing it up, is not to depress you, but for you to recognize the very nature of suffering, that which we are making all efforts to free ourselves from. Then we won't know how to practice Dharma properly. I didn't word say that right, but so readers, when you study this chapter, instead of feeling depressed or negative and trying to run away or ignore it, read it thoroughly and contemplate this subject well. Awaken! Explanation mark. Your mind has been asleep in samsara for a long time. Recognize what kind of place you are in and apply the Dharma, the truths, in your heart. Then make all efforts to flee from samsara. See, so I'm writing this because, I'm saying this because be thankful for the realm you're in. But if we are not watchful and observant and aware of our speech and our actions, we can produce karma. For example, if somebody asks for some money and you can afford to give it, you should give it. Or if someone, there's a monk or a teacher, and someone starts to badmouth that monk or that teacher, oops-a-doo, that is not a good thing to do. That's karma that comes back to get the person. So it's your speech and your actions. So when I read that, I went, oh, I'm going to set my intention of speech. And what made this intention of speech even more important after I read that chapter about the six realms, how much more suffering is in these other realms physically, where mentally it's suffering in this world, although we can have some physical suffering. There's a quote that was done July 5th from this Karmapa, and I'm going to read it here. The ninth point reveals the subtle discipline of benefiting those who aspire to act rightly by rejoicing in and honoring the virtues of others. It teaches true praise is not flattery. See, this is talking about speech. True praise is not flattery, but a sincere recognition of goodness, offered with wisdom and restraint. This is in the email I sent out this week. In this age of swift expression and boundless reach, words arise and spread before reflection can temper them. Careless praise and unexamined criticism alike become seeds of confusion. To exaggerate qualities that are not present is no less harmful than to falsely condemn, for both distort truth and lead minds astray. Even stories meant to inspire may lose their power when they depart from authenticity, turning faith into doubt. Thus, one must learn the delicate balance: when to speak, when to remain silent, when to praise, and when to offer correction. Above all, one must abandon duplicity. And I didn't get this until this afternoon. Duplicity, praising in presence, praising somebody when you're around, praising in presence, while sowing discard in absence. So after you leave the person that you just were praising them, you go and talking with another person, and you're telling all kinds of bad things that are about that person. You're sowing discord. That's duplicity. If one, it could be called gossip too. If one holds genuine devotion and love, let praise be quiet, sincere, and free from display, echoing gently where it may bring benefit without inflaming pride or conflict. For it is often through speech that discord takes root. Isn't that right? That I mean, I could say something and just cause discord. And then I have to come back later and go, hold it, I apologize. I did not mean that. It just was spur of the moment thing. But see, as we take these deep breaths in and go, and learn to relax, breathe, smile, and relax, what's happening? You're cultivating this sacred pause that happens between thoughts, feelings, sensations, where you have time to respond instead of knee jerk react. Well, anyway, for it's often through speech that discord takes root. The unguarded tongue gives rise to many of life's sorrows. Yet when guided by mindfulness and truth, speech becomes a path of harmony, a vessel of virtue, and a means by which wisdom is shared and goodness made known. Isn't that sweet? I thought that was so sweet. So I wrote up an intention for my speech and then printed it out. And what I'm doing is, I've only done this yesterday, is to read each day, to read my intention about wanting to stop and see the clear light before I do anything. And then to see the clear light while I'm doing anything, doing dishes, walking around. It's a practice. And even if you can't see the clear light, just you thinking about the clear light while you're doing something, you're breaking through the unconscious and training the unconscious to see the clear light. It's so powerful. I can't even describe how powerful this is. So, just setting your intentions about wanting to see the clear light, and then interbe within the clear light whenever you're doing anything. Then set some intention with your speech, and then going over it each day. It's putting it in your unconscious. You're setting your intention how you want to live this life, and you'll wake up sooner because you're defining it. You're setting it up. And it's in my email. I write about my intention for speech. Now, what's happening is you're going through the 7 stages of purification. And I'm just going to read them because we still got about another 6 minutes. The 7 stages of purification. There's purification of conduct. Moral discipline is as your foundation. Purification of conduct, how we act, physically act. Purification of the mind, calming and stabilizing the mind. Purification of view, correcting distorted perceptions. Overcoming doubt, removing uncertainty. Knowledge and vision of what is path and not path, discerning the truths or dharma. Knowledge and vision of the course of practice, understanding the past stages. knowledge and vision, direct insight into reality. Each stage supports the next, with the first two rooted in virtue and concentration, and the last five in wisdom. So, virtue, for you trying to be aware of what you're aware of your thoughts. Remember, I talk about when we're stuck in confusion, I was never even aware there were thoughts. I was never even aware that I was automatically doing what the thought said without even knowing I was doing what the thought said until starting the Course in Miracles and then Tibetan Buddhism and this Dzogchen, where this breath work, where you're aware of your breath, a deep breath in from the lower belly up, and then the pause and the exhaling. What's happening? You're getting in a rhythm and a harmony with that great ray light that's descending and ascending in your form, but you're not aware of it yet. You're getting in harmony with breath and energy. Your heartbeat slowing to get all joined up with that. That's opening your heart, rejoining heart with mind. So many powerful things just by softening, falling into the harmony of a breath, of the breath, in and out breath, is you're letting go. You're letting go, but creating pauses where you become aware of what's going on in your mind, but then you're aware of what's going out around you, and you're less likely to react to what's going on out there. You've learned, oh, I'm going to take a breath before I answer anybody anymore. I'm just going to stop and suck it up, take a breath, and just pause. Except if you're in some dire, fast situation, you got to react, then go for it. That's the real purpose of ego. He'll get you out safe. But just slow it all down, folks. What's the big urgency here? Just slow down, breathe, smile, relax, fall into this natural Christ Buddha nature. In the email I wrote that this week, I realized Glenda isn't doing squat. Glenda isn't breathing this breath. Glenda isn't thinking these thoughts. These are just these six senses. Glenda's not doing this at all. And even then, this Buddha, Christ, God nature is just this awareness. You're aware of thoughts. Awareness of thoughts is curative. Once you're aware of your thoughts, you're no longer caught up in that big old jumble of all that mess of thoughts, feelings, and sensations where you're just reacting and just doing you're just unconsciously doing whatever those thoughts and feelings are saying. You're breaking these habitual habit patterns to cultivate new ones where you're breathing, smiling, relaxing. Going to take a pause here before I do something. And now before I go to a board meeting or have a meeting with any of the condo meetings or my family, I go, oh, Spirit, you got to help me. Help me remember to take that breath in and relax and just pause. Just listen to them. I don't have to come up with an answer. Just pause. And then before you know it, some thought will pass through your mind that you'll say, because that's your holy nature giving you guidance. Because this capital A awareness, it knows how to answer everything. It knows what to do. We just haven't relaxed, leaned back and let it be, let it unfold. Oh, it's just so beautiful and so easy. That why Dzogchen is easy, but it's not easily done because we're used to running on the treadmill. Got to get all this done. Got to rush, 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 rush. Not aware that your bottom's on this car seat when you're driving. My hands are on the steering wheel. Not being aware, but now you're becoming aware when your mind's going to the destination, what you're going to do when you get there, or the mind's thinking about, well, what I just did when I left my house. Your mind's not right there in the now, in the car with your hands on the steering wheel, watching traffic and seeing what your speed limit is. In the now. In the now moment is what we're coming home to. And in the now moment is this interbeingness of your clear light essence. just being. You're just coming back to being instead of doing. But in but what happens as you practice these truths, then there becomes a balance between being and doing. Doing is fueled by being. You're coming from this virtuous being nature, this all loving heart that's open, this mind that's hearing, feeling loving vibes from your heart. So you've got a heart mind, not thinking real hard, straight, cutthroat, not cutthroat, but thoughts about people, etc. Because you know it. You know your minds and bodies are being transformed. You feel the difference. Let's see some other things. Yep, that's pretty much. I'm going to repeat that. The natural great perfection, which means it means that's Dzogchen. That means the six senses: thinking, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling are left in their natural state. Natural means they're open, and the sounds and sights are coming and going without me labeling them or identifying them or sorting them, labeling them good and bad, just letting them be. Let and I'm aware of them individually. They're no longer all jumbled together. It's just and that's your natural state. Because remember, the Son of God wanted to know what the clear light felt like inside an image. Well, that natural state is your clear light awareness is aware of all these open senses, and it's experiencing how it feels to be in your body. It feels full, or does your head feel hollow, and how's your body feel? What do my feet feel like? That's that's awareness of how, feeling what it's aware to be in a body. You're becoming awake to how your body feels. You're no longer ignoring your body. And then the sounds, you're aware of the sounds. Oh, without labeling them, being wandering off with a sound and a sight. You're just experiencing the experience. It's so cool. Once you do it, then you recognize, well, I sure wasn't recognizing the experience. I was labeling some. Then I let go. You become much more aware of when I'm becoming much more aware when I'm judging and evaluating because of this cultivation of this panoramic 360-degree awareness, where instead of having a little tight view of my little separate self with my little separate family and my little separate house, you've opened up your vision to your community, to your state, to your country, to the whole world on planet Earth. And then the universe just open that awareness just extends. uh it's boundless, it's borderless, it's edgeless, no edges, includes everything. That's why we're welcoming in all the images. We're welcoming back all the projections that we thought were out there. We're welcoming the projections in to realize they're within this God mind that's my mind, within this space, clear light space. There's no out there. Never been an out there. Will never be an out there. They're just this clear light space that images are really quickly coming and going in, that we're experiencing as God, clear light, as a Christ Buddha, as God. That's why uh, some holy teachers say gods and goddesses walk on the holy earth, because everything is God's clear light presence. Now, granted, not all of them act like a god or a goddess, but that's their karma. I'm I'm not going to take on their karma by criticizing and judging them. Then I get involved in that deal and setting up karma for myself, just letting them be and see the clear light nature that they have. And at the end of the day, I look back on my day. I'm trying to look back on my day and think about, what did I forget? Which people, images did I forget to think of them as clear light? And then I just go through them. see through them to their clear light nature. Or I'll ask Holy Spirit, help me. When I was judging, I want to let go of that. And I let go of that, see their clear light nature. You're cleaning up your karma at the end of each day as best you can. And it gets easier and easier because you become aware of your speech and your actions. Well, anyway, thank you so much for coming out this evening. Oh, so there won't be Zoom meeting next week or until for 6 weeks until August 25th. But I'll send you all out an email and announcing a couple weeks out when I'm restarting our weekly Zoom meeting. Ed, you've unmuted, but I need to clarify. I would like for it to be about your experience, not about words or books.
No, I have nothing. I'm leaving. I just have a cute picture though. Can you see it? No,
Mm-mm.
because
No,
I have all this light in the background. Oh, too bad. Maybe no. Anyway, it's a hound with a little baby sleeping on him.
not quite, but it's two animals, huh?
No, it's a little boy and a hound. But anyway, I'll just real quickly. I lost the book, but I bought it, and I'm going to get another one. It's called Maddie, Maddie, like Madeline, Maddie Lounging on Things by Theron Humphrey, Theron Humphrey. He's a photographer evidently, but uh, it's a complete experiment involving canine sleep, complex experiment involving canine sleep patterns. It's just the most charming thing you've ever seen. Theron Humphrey, Maddie. She may have other books. Maddie lounging on things. Anyway, that's all. There might be a website. I don't know. But that's
Thank,
all I know.
thank you,
Thank
Ed.
you.
Thank you. Thank
Have
you for
a,
coming out. Thank you.
thank
Does
you.
anyone else have a comment or question before I stop the recording? And then we stay to chat for those that can. Any thought in or gone? Oh, thank you all for coming out. Let's see. Look around the screen and remember to how we think of others, just like Jesus says, is how we think of ourselves. There's God D, God Jerry, God Julia, God Glenda, God Ed. You see, there was God Jerry was here. And those that listen to the see the video on YouTube, yeah, you're as you think of others is how you think of yourself. Thank you for coming out tonight. Word.